Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be talking about my 4th year learning Korean via immersion learning methods or using the AJATT method. And basically I just want to give an overview plus a new update, and this has been actually a theme on my channel since I first started. I started out with like a 1.5 year update, I believe, and then I've been doing one every year or every 6 months since. So I thought, since it's been 4 years since March, since I undertook immersion-based learning, I thought now would be a great time to do a video about it. So I wrote down some notes here on the side just so I have an overview of what I wanted to talk about, but for the most part it will probably be a free talking video, so feel free to skip ahead to places that are of interest, and I'll try and timestamp it in the description. So yeah, as of lately, my Korean ability, how good is it? Now, for those of you who don't know, my Korean ability is considered to be basic fluency and above, right? So I can have conversations. I maintain various amount of friendships in Korean, which has been very, very beneficial to my life, actually. I really enjoy talking to other Korean people and just speaking to them without actually thinking I'm speaking a foreign language. That might sound quite strange to anyone who is not at a high level in their desired language, but it's a very enthralling experience, right? So that's probably the best part about speaking Korean. But my ability right now, obviously I'm studying a university program, which is a full-on degree program. So this is not just your language course or an exchange 3 months. I'm here for at least 3 more years yet, and I've already been here a year pursuing a degree in media and entertainment. Now, we can get into that a little bit later on, but the main point here is that I'm taking lectures in Korean. So I'm not only just studying Korean to be able to converse, I'm sort of using the Korean that I've learned to learn new things. So for example, one of the new topics that I'm learning about is logic. I've actually got a book here I would like to show you guys because I bought it recently. But I've been reading like a full-on not textbook. It's a book that is a supplementary read, and as you can see, it's all like complicated stuff in Korean. I don't know if that really shows very well, but basically, I'm learning new things in a foreign language, not just learning a foreign language sort of for the sake of it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's sort of the level of progression I'm at now, whereas a few years prior I was reading books, but having a very hard time understanding new concepts within the books, whereas now it's like I'm learning new words that I didn't know in English prior, so I'm always progressing in a sort of, not linear fashion, but just slowly but surely, right? Without it being, this whole purpose being on my language learning, right? So, and my light has just gone out, so I apologize. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna remove it. I'm gonna carry on with the video anyway, because I don't have time to edit my videos nowadays. As you guys can see, I've been very busy. So, righty-ho, so that's my sort of current level. Now I'm just gonna confirm my notes here because I want to mention all the points I want to mention so that, the video is valuable. Right, so goals. So my current goals at the moment, my goals previously were to get to a higher level of fluency where I'm more comfortable conversing and making friends. Like, sure, that was possible before, but I just want to sort of refine, sort of fill in the gaps that I had been sort of lacking, and now that hasn't really changed, to be honest. I'm still filling in the gaps, but it's just the gaps, the horizon, once you cross it, you see how much more horizon there is left, if that makes sense. I've heard, other language learners speak about once you get to a certain point, you realize how much you don't know and how big of a pool this language learning or the potential vocabulary you could learn is, and it's quite a difficult mountain from there on. It's like you get the first mountain of, yeah, I'm fluent, but now I'm not native, and then going from fluent to native is like really, that takes the real work. That takes some real dedication. And to be honest, guys, I don't think I'm going to age at it like I did before. You can watch my previous update videos where I was pretty much doing Korean 24/7, all intensive immersion all the time, no English pretty much all the time. That stopped around the 2.5 year mark, and the daily immersion time is reduced. I've since been bringing it back up to about a few hours a day, but that's usually from reading. And I've noticed my listening has sort of dropped back because of that. But to be honest, I'm not too stressed because I am listening to lectures about 3 hours a day, which I suppose technically is immersion, right? So I suppose I could include that. So I'm getting at least 5 hours of Korean input a day sort of almost minimum from at least Monday to Friday, and on the weekends, if I'm lucky, I'll get some as well. So yeah, that's that. But to be honest, guys, I think I'm making this as a language learning update video, but to be honest, really want to make this as a sort of a life update video because, so to be honest, the language learning space on YouTube, especially the immersion learning space, is pretty much dead at the moment. Like, everyone understands now that, okay, immersion learning is the best way. You should be immersing. That's kind of not completely common knowledge because there are still people who follow traditional methods, but the message is out there. So, me sitting here making my update video is all well and good, but it doesn't really add a whole lot of value. But I think what will add more value is if I explain my philosophy and my current life experiences, which will help people who are looking to pursue the same path or perhaps a similar path where they end up spending some time in Korea. And obviously most people probably won't be as dedicated as me to spend 4 years learning language full time and then pursuing university. But there probably will be some people who are interested in Korea or Korean, which I can give some insight to. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So let me just confer with my notes again because I'm not very organized. Right, so my general philosophy on language learning is that the more articulate you are, the better it is generally for everyone. And that's funny, I messed up on that sentence, but yeah, you get the idea, right? So the more precise your speech can be, the more impact it holds and will carry over, and that will carry over to, not just your relationships, but the way you think and many different areas. Okay, so a lot of people out here are trying to be polyglots. They're trying to speak Italian, French, German, Japanese, Chinese, all at once, right? They're trying to get all the languages in. That's not me. I'm very much, I want to have the highest level of English ability I can possibly get, whilst also having the highest level possible of Korean ability that I could get, and basically 2 native speakers in one person. That would be the ideal, but obviously Korean, since it is my second language, to get to native-like level will take significantly more time than I originally thought it would. A lot of people say, okay, especially in the immersion learning space, that within 5 years you can get to native level because that's a reasonable target to hit if you're immersing and AJATTing it all day, all long. That I could see how that is potentially there, but you've got to remember that even within native speakers, amongst native speakers, there's gaps as well. So people who read, people who don't read, people who watch certain types of content, who don't watch other certain types of content. Their vocabulary is divergent, very. But I'm not so stressed about getting super top tier Korean for life, but I am sort of stressed about it, focused on it whilst I'm here now, if that makes sense. So I'm here for 3 more years at least, and I want my Korean to be the best it's gonna be because this is the exact place that I would be using it. It's the exact place that is most useful to me in my life. If I'm maybe 50 something, if I manage to live that long, praise God, I will probably be less stressed about where my Korean ability is at, unless I'm living here in Korea and carrying on the Korean lifestyle. So, but what I'm saying, maybe I'm thinking short term, but thinking sort of pragmatically, the best time to get good at Korean is now in Korea. So I sort of shifted my philosophy from, it'll be sort of okay, to, okay, let's try and get as best as we can in these few years, and then after that, if I want to take the foot off the gas, it's a good time to take the foot off the gas because for reasons I've mentioned. Now, what else have I done to sort of re-motivate myself? Because I mentioned in my previous video that I was actually sort of lacking the motivation and lacking the, not the spark to continue, but I felt like because I'd reached the basic fluency, I've got everything that I really originally wanted to do, and now everything that I learn new on top of this is, is useful, but perhaps less useful in the short term, but over the long term it makes me stronger and more of a capable human being, so it is actually beneficial. But it's hard to find the motivation because once you break through to basic fluency, you almost break the sort of the fantasy you had about that culture or language or people, and you just kind of see the world for what it really is. Like, you watch something in Korean and then you go and watch something in English, it's not like sort of the same, but you realize that humans aren't a whole lot different in terms of what they're doing on this planet. So it's not super exciting. Like, once you get to the point I'm at, you'll probably won't be too like super happy, like, oh my god, I'm fluent. Like, it's funny because I remember when I was on my way up, like learning, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get fluent, it's gonna be so good. And the days that I was progressing, I remember I had like a massive Anki streak, and I was like checking off the days, and it was like super motivational. It was really good fun. The journey was much more fun than the destination, is exactly what I'm trying to drill in here. So don't stress about getting super perfect if it destroys your mental health. Just focus on doing the best you can today, tomorrow, next day. It's not as good as it sounds, but it kind of is, because it allows you to unlock new experiences, right? So that's why I'm also an advocate of learning just one foreign language rather than learning many, and getting good at one or two languages rather than many, right? Because you could have an infinite number of low quality experiences with maybe languages you learn 500 words and 1,000 words in, but if you could have the most high quality experience either in your native language or the second language that you learn, that would be the most optimum for high quality rare experiences, right? Because let's think about it. I suppose learning multiple languages might count as more rare experience, but it's an experience that anyone. I disagree. It's probably more of a common experience, because you can learn a few words of a language and go to a country. Like, almost anyone is capable of doing that. So it's less of a rare experience. Whereas if you put years of dedication getting to a very high level of sort of art, fluency in a language, then not many other people are going to be able to follow in that path. And I believe that creates the rarer and sort of high quality experience, which is what I value in my life. And you probably do too, if you're being super honest with yourself. But anyway. Now, just adding sort of further thoughts to my philosophy, I actually recently signed up to a book club in Korean. So it's, a book club is basically just a club where you discuss the books that you've read, but you also give your emotions, your ideas, your thoughts, just extra points of view, and then you debate them as a group. Now, why did I sign up for this in Korean? Because I wanted to push myself, okay? So I've actually been reading a little bit in Korean, and to be honest, for the last couple months, I would say, I've strictly only read in Korean. Most of, like, when I'm reading official books, like I read blogs and websites and stuff in English at the moment, but that's besides the point. I've noticed while doing this that I'm lacking in certain words, or there's certain vocabulary which I do not know, which I feel like I should know, but the only way I'm going to get through that is just by, progressively reading and reading and reading. It's like I know how to learn, it's just I need to sit down, put in the hours, and reap the rewards, just, get the results. After 4 years of learning, the sort of pattern of your daily immersion routine can kind of break up, because you have changed as a person in 4 years. I'm not the same George I was 4 years ago. So that also means my motivations and my objectives change. Like, what you want 5 years ago is not what you want today, and what I want today will probably not be what I want in 5 years' time. But I'm trying to make the best long-term decision, which I mentioned earlier, is me improving my Korean to the best of ability that I can whilst I'm in Korea for the next 3 years. And that a good method of doing that is joining a book club, because I suppose it does force me to output a bit, but I'm be surrounded by sort of top level speakers. I speak to some of my friends, and I still learn a little bit from them, but to be honest, a lot of my friends aren't the most articulate types. So I'm sort of surrounded by people who are definitely better than me in Korean, but if their level is like sort of just here and I'm here, and then the people who are in the book club are going to be really articulate over here, it's like more of a climb, it's more of a challenge, and it just makes the whole process more stimulating and fun again. So that was the main reason for doing that. And I haven't actually gone out to it yet, because it starts next week, or on the weekend, I believe. So I'm going to do that, and I might make an update video regarding that. So another thing that I wanted to get off my chest, or discuss on this channel, is that I've been considering creating a second channel in Korean and teaching concepts that are widely available in the West and in the English sphere, Anglosphere is the right word, and taking them to Korea, because I feel like there's a lot of information online that is only available in English, or has higher quality, is of high quality in the English realm, which I think I could translate and convey to Korean people, which would benefit their lives and contribute to Korean society in some way, which I guess is not necessarily my job, but I think it's a meaningful pursuit. So that is my motivation behind it. Now, the reason I've been holding off is because my output isn't actually as good as I think it should be, or perhaps I'm super critical, but like I said earlier, I really value being articulate, and I'm very self-conscious even when I speak now. Earlier I've been making a few mistakes, I repeat myself, stutter and all this. It kind of plays on my mind a little bit, but the only way to get better is to get more input and then practice actualizing that through output, right? So, and for anyone who's not familiar with this sort of concept, or anyone who doesn't agree with what I just said, feel free to look up immersion learning or the input hypothesis online. Those resources will help you sort of come to terms with what I'm talking about now, because if you don't know about immersion learning, then you're probably not going to be sold with what I'm saying. But I assume that most people who are watching my 4-year update video now are previous followers or people who are involved in the language learning space, so they probably know what I'm talking about. Anywho, so I was talking about philosophy. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so getting better at Korean is what I'm trying to do, and yeah, okay, sorry, let me just, right, okay. Looking back at the 4 years then, so Anki is another big thing that people are always curious about. So my Anki hardcore phase has definitely gone by me. In the first year or two, I was going spamming Anki every day, going really hardcore with it, and in year 3 I sort of laid off the gas a little bit, and now the way I use Anki is actually the same way I would use it if I was just a native speaker of English, or just a normal university student. So I still do mine the questions out of books like the ones I showed you earlier. Like I would just find, I also do the I+1 sentence mining method as well, but I now use it just to study for my exams. But because my exams are in Korean, it just sort of adds up as it's like a +1 bonus, right? So the point I was trying to make is that my immersion is no longer immersion, it's just me living my life, and it happens to be in Korean. I think that's the biggest shift that's happened in this past year. I used to come home and watch dramas or watch YouTube or try and get active listening immersion or active reading immersion, whereas now it's like I want to read books, I want to perhaps watch this movie, then I will watch it because it's in Korean, but I don't force myself to get a daily target anymore, which is definitely good for not stressing about it, because like I said, the journey was great until you get to a certain point where it doesn't really matter anymore. Like you don't really feel like it really does much anymore. So now I need to find a new source of motivation, and the new source of motivation for me is actually sort of lowering my dopamine levels or my instant gratification levels and becoming more disciplined and becoming sort of like the person I would have become if I'd only lived a monolingual lifestyle, perhaps. that sounds so profound, like monolingual lifestyle. That's not to hate on anyone who's not bilingual, but the point being, I'm now not in, sit at home, let's immerse in Korean, let's get really good. It's more like, okay, let's just improve my life, and improving Korean is just a little part of that, but it's not all of it, because it used to be all of it. It used to be the only thing that I cared about, and I don't regret it, but it's not a phase of my life that I could probably do again unless I was in the same mindset. It's like a very hard thing to describe to someone who's never been super passionate about something, but imagine someone who wants to become, I don't know, perhaps a pro boxer, right, for example. They train like crazy for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and then once they get to, I was gonna say black belt, but like once they get in the ring and they're fighting consistently, they reach a certain level where it's like, okay, I am definitely a boxer now, I'm definitely this. But I can always get better, because everyone can always get better no matter how perfect they think they are. So it's crossing the first mountain, it's crossing that first bridge, and then realizing that the stuff you don't know is so vast that if you really want to become a master, you might have to just give up your whole life to do it. And I don't think I want to give up my whole life just to get super fluent in Korean. I believe that I've probably got more to me than that, or not more to me than that, but there's different paths of meaning that I could choose, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But on a contradictory point here, I do want to focus on improving my Korean now rather than in the future, because this is the best time to do it. So yeah, it's a bit of a contradiction going on there. So that's pretty much my thoughts. Just in terms of YouTube and all this sort of thing, I also want to just talk a little bit about my life as well. I haven't been editing my videos lately for the past 4, 5, 6 uploads because I don't have as much free time as I used to, and also throughout the last couple of months I was experimenting with using Linux and IT stuff, which is sort of out of the scope of language learning, but it's still something I'm very passionate about. And I think that's the key thing I was also trying to say is that my interests have changed, my goals have developed, my self as a whole has developed into someone who I never thought I would be. So I've become, you know, someone different, but I was still trying to maintain the same lifestyle, the same goals. And I've spoken to other people who have done AJATT, and they say that, or other people who've done AJATT for Japanese, not Korean, so it's slightly different. But most people get to the 3-year mark and they realize, okay, my language ability is pretty good. I don't really want to take it any further. Whereas I'm sort of almost forced to take it further because I'm in university, and if I don't take it any further, you know, I'll be falling behind my peers, and that's not something that I like doing because I'm very competitive at nature, at heart, which is probably also why I like to push myself to do extreme stuff like doing immersion in the first place. But the problem is, I don't want to be doing the same thing, you know, I don't want to be learning languages for the rest of my life. I want to be living for the rest of my life, you know? So learning languages can't take the whole piece of the pie anymore like it used to. So that's probably the most, not the most upsetting thing, but it's the biggest realization I've had, is that you can't just immerse forever. You have to start living. And which I wanted to also say that with the output side of things, like my writing is not very good. Or again, I keep saying like my Korean sucks, but it's probably better than like, you know, 90% of learners, like not to talk shit, but I'm not bad. It's just I'm not native and it bothers me. Okay, so the fact that it bothers me is probably a good thing, because it's probably suggesting that, okay, there's something to be done here, and I am actually taking steps towards it. But I don't, it's because I can't go extreme anymore due to my new lifestyle, or I don't want to because I'm interested in other things. It's causing a little bit of a divide because I don't really know what I really want to become or who I really want to become just at the moment. But, you know, Korean, doing the gym, you know, improving my general health, my physique, my just general fitness. What else have I got, you know? Meditation, reading, becoming more articulate in both English and Korean. Those are my sort of goals at the moment. Whereas before it was just Korean. So it's like now so diversified that I can't justify giving Korean all my time to Korean, is basically what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm gonna stop waffling now. Hopefully this update video gave you some sort of insight. I know it wasn't as prepared or as neat as the other videos that you might see on YouTube, but this channel at the moment is very raw and I don't like to edit the videos, so this is what you're getting, unfortunately. Yeah, that was it for the 4-year update. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments or questions or concerns or want to ask for advice, be sure to leave a comment and I will try and get back to you. I wish you best of luck on your language learning journey, and I'll see you when I post next. Have a good one and stay conscious.